Staunch Moderates Experience live virtual concert. So I really thought conceptually this was pretty much experimental, very different to make this full concert experience without anyone really needing to be in the same room, or anything really needing to be actually played. And so one way that they were able to do this outside of use of green screen is things that are constant, like having, dancers, the cuts to the crowd, this DJ, this host that comes in and out, all these various elements that kind of carry you through and transition you from one song to another. I did like how various types of music are portrayed here. It's not one particular genre, but one thing that was similar was all this music has some sort of message of positivity, and that was pretty consistent throughout, which I thought also tied the whole theme of the concert together.
Staunch Moderates. I thought there were several really interesting things kind of going on in this. I thought it was a really interesting way to approach kind of telling history and telling not just history of legitimate, like back in the day history, but also with another way to not translate, but another way to I guess ingest or watch or keep up with like modern, like current events, things that are happening globally but in the moment. And I thought it was like is a really interesting way to kind of give that information, because I think a lot of the time, especially when you're talking about history, something that people often struggle with, because if it's not told or taught, or what however you're wanting to learn or digest or ingest, like if the information isn't broken down into like an interesting narrative, or with interesting content, then a lot of time people find it very boring, and they don't often retain that information as well. So I thought that this was a really interesting kind of medium to try to maybe get history to be more interesting, or have more people like retain the information a little bit better, because I think music as your like medium, your informational medium, I think is such an interesting way to get like information across. I think it works great. I think it engages multiple parts of the brain at once. I think like I really enjoyed that. But then also, again, using this kind of musical lecturing in a way, just because like with the, especially when it comes to like rapping and the type of music that they were creating, like it is very narrative, and like using that as a way to explain what a staunch moderate is and like what that means, and like some of these concepts that might be harder to like understand if you're just trying to like read what the definition is. Like I thought was again a really creative, interesting way to get information across, and to have it be more easily understood or more easily digestible than just reading definitions, or just reading media coverage, or just reading straight history. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
This was a really wild piece, really far out there. Excellent and gratuitous use of green screen, but I think that's what added so much charm to this. That sort of janky visual aesthetic that they went for, really just leaning into it heavily, I think was a smart play. Worked really well. It's so wild, and the name is just such a brilliant play and such a great contrast to what you're seeing. Um, a lot of the music was actually really smooth. I enjoyed a lot of that and a lot of the vocals. Yeah, really interesting. I don't know if I agree entirely about the comments about Bill Maher, but that's neither here nor there. The entire piece itself was really just fun, interesting, and just a good time. Really enjoyed it.
This virtual concert was really informative in terms of the facts they provided. Through the whole film, they were bringing us through a history of media and politics with music in the form of rap, and I thought it was really impressive how much time and information they were able to cover in this amount of time. Like time as in timeline. And it was pretty digestible in terms of understanding everything and the timeline that they were going with. I think the dancers and singers and DJ on the screen the whole time in front of the extra footage they have was an interesting and a very different way of filming a concert slash an informative video, and I thought it was a cool concept.